Discover the incredible warning from a black waitress that changed a billionaire's life forever. In the heart of the city, where the towering skyscrapers sliced through the sky, stood a little diner filled with the aroma of coffee and sizzling pancakes. This was Clara's world. A hard-working waitress, a single mother at 38, she poured her heart into her job, her only hope being to provide a future for her rebellious teenage son, Marcus. Every morning, as the sun crept through the windows, Clara greeted each customer with a warm smile, her resilience shining through the chaos of her life. One fine morning, as Clara refilled David Sinclair's coffee, a billionaire encased in his crisp suit, their worlds collided like clashing waves. While he commanded boardrooms, Clara commanded tables, connecting with people from every walk of life. "How's the city treating you today?" she asked, her voice threading through the ambient hum of chatter and clinking dishes. David's smile faltered, betraying layers of loneliness hidden beneath his confident facade. "It's bustling," he replied, his eyes reflecting a deep-seated regret. Clara began to share stories of the diner's regulars, families laughing over brunch and friends sharing dreams, all gathered under one roof. With each tale, she painted a picture of community, hope, and caring for one another that seemed foreign to David, who had long abandoned those values in his quest for wealth. It was a captivating contrast, the warmth of Clara's spirit reaching into the cold, sterile walls of his universe, but soon, trouble brewed on the home front. Marcus had been caught up in things that worried Clara, bad friends, reckless decisions. As she juggled her shifts, the weight of bills crushed her shoulders. The laughter that filled the diner felt like a distant echo, while she battled not only with the outside world but the tempest within her own home. Could she keep Marcus from losing himself completely in this world that threatened to consume him? As Clara wiped a table, David barged through the door again, his tie slightly askew, eyes shadowed by fresh turmoil. A corporate scandal had erupted, threatening to shatter his empire. Was he still the same man who dismissed happiness as a commodity? Clara realized she needed to help him. Her voice mattered, she had to make him see. "Before we continue," she thought, heart racing with anticipation, "I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Taking a breath, she looked into David's weary eyes. "Are you really successful if you've lost what matters most?" The question hung in the air, heavy and charged. Clara's words struck a chord deep within him, igniting a flicker of self-examination. Moments of silence revealed the crowded diner, a microcosm of life, where hope thrived amidst uncertainty. Could Clara forgive the injustices of her world? Could David dare to step out of his gilded cage? As the diner buzzed with life, their paths sparked something within each other, a yearning so intense it was terrifying. But just as Clara's spirit began to mend, an unexpected twist loomed. The world she fought to protect from harm and the life David sought to salvage began to merge in ways neither anticipated, leading to a quiet but shattering question: what would they sacrifice for redemption? In the diner, a delicate tension filled the air, wrapping around Clara and David like a fog that refused to lift. Clara's question lingered between them, urging David to confront his reality. Inside, his heart raced. It was one thing to boss around employees and make deals worth millions, it was another to feel vulnerable sitting across from a woman who wore her struggles like a badge of honor. David started, his voice trembling as he fought to articulate thoughts tumbling inside him. "I don't know what matters most anymore." Clara leaned forward, sensing his turmoil. "You have to figure that out, David. It's not just about numbers and titles. It's about people. Look at this place." She gestured around, her voice lifting. "These folks come here for connection, family, laughter, maybe a little comfort on a hard day. That's worth something, don't you think?" He met her gaze, warmth radiating from her like a lighthouse in the stormy sea of his life. Sometimes, I feel like I've lost it. All of it, he admitted, a note of despair creeping into his tone. I'm overwhelmed with what the world expects of me. Clara nodded slowly, his honesty striking her. You can redefine what that means. It's never too late to reclaim what you once had. How many mornings did you wake up excited to jump into the day? Think about that, David. The words sliced through him. Memories flashed of late-night gatherings with friends, the thrill of spontaneous road trips, and conversations that stretched into dawn. In this bustling diner, Clara was showing him a glimpse of life he had long forgotten. As their gaze locked, something shifted in the diner. The chatter faded, and Clara saw David's barriers beginning to weaken. That scandal, it doesn't need to define you. Use this moment. Redeem yourself, not just in the boardroom but in your life. David's heart pounded. Clara's bravery ignited something within him, a desire to step away from the cold grip of his corporate existence. But how? The thought of losing everything he built was terrifying. Meanwhile, Clara's face tightened as her phone buzzed on the counter. A message from Marcus appeared, laced with rebellion and urgency. Mom, I'm at the park. You need to come get me. This is bad. Panic flooded her. It had been days since she had truly connected with her son, and now it seemed the looming shadow of danger stretched over him again. I have to go, she said, her voice a mixture of urgency and hesitation. My son, wait. David reached out, desperation in his eyes. What can I do to help? Clara hesitated, the weight of her world pressing down on her. If only she could trust him, trust that he could understand the delicate thread she was balancing. I don't know. I need to find him. But you let me come with you, he interrupted, his determination shining through. Clara couldn't believe what she was hearing. Could this billionaire truly grasp the gravity of a mother's love? Why would you want to help me? She glanced back incredulously. Because, he paused, weighing the words carefully. I need this. I need more than just a business deal. I need to feel alive. And I want to help you too. Somehow, I feel I can. With hope rising and skepticism battling inside her, Clara nodded slowly, accepting his offer. They would face the unknown together, two souls searching for redemption in a world that seemed relentless and unyielding. As they burst through the diner's doors into the chaos outside, an unsettling question lingered in Clara's mind. What would happen when David stepped beyond the life he knew? And what if they both fell short of saving what mattered most? The streets were a blur of color and sound as they rushed toward the park. Clara's heart raced, each hurried step echoing the music of anxiety playing in her mind. David kept pace beside her, a silent ally amid the chaos. She could feel his presence, steady and focused, despite the rising tides of fear inside her. Clara checked her phone again, but the screen remained unchanged. He's never late. What if Clara, David interrupted, urging her to breathe. We'll find him. Just keep your head clear. His voice was firm, and for a moment, it grounded her. This man, who had everything and nothing at once, seemed to understand her plight in a way she couldn't explain. They rounded the corner to the park entrance. Children played, laughter mingling with shouts of joy, but the sight only deepened Clara's worry. Her eyes darted around, searching for a familiar face. Marcus! She called out, her voice slicing through the laughter around them. Let's split up, cover more ground, David suggested, scanning the playground. There was something fierce in his determination. I'll check by the swings. You take the field. Okay, she replied, nodding almost instinctively. As they moved in different directions, Clara's mind raced. What had Marcus gotten involved in this time? She couldn't shake the memories of past conversations where he hid truths behind bravado. You've got to trust me, Mom, he said, and yet this trust felt so fragile. Panic nearly choked her as she kept calling his name, her voice growing hoarse. Each step felt like a weight on her chest, and she imagined all the worst scenarios playing out in her head. Suddenly, she spotted a group of teens off to the side, a potpourri of attitudes and styles. They were laughing, but it felt off, a tension sewn into their smiles. She recognized one of them, Adrian, a boy from school notorious for his reckless streak. He looked up and caught her eye, his expression shifting from carefree to guarded in an instant. "Adrian!" she called out, jogging toward him. "Have you seen Marcus?" His friends turned to her, the laughter fading like smoke. No, I haven't," Adrian said, but Clara noted the flicker of guilt in his eyes. "Come on. I need to find him." Her urgency pressed against the edges of her voice. She stepped closer, lowering her tone. "Look, I know something's going on. Please, just tell me." Adrian hesitated, his gaze darting between her and his friends. "You really need to ask him. He's over at the old fountain." "I can't, thanks," she interrupted, bolting away before he could finish. Clara found the patch of grass leading to the fountain, its water bubbling softly, the memories of better whiles bursting like bubbles in her chest. She could already hear voices, the laugh familiar, yet far too loud for her comfort. As she approached, the scene unfolded before her. Marcus stood there, surrounded by those teens, his energy palpable, but the undertones felt darker. Clara stepped forward, ready to intercept, but David appeared at her side, his face pale. "Clara, we need to be careful," he whispered, his eyes wide. "What?" "Let me handle this," he said, moving with purpose as he approached the group. "What are you doing?" she hissed, alarmed, but something in David's stance told her it was too late to pull him back. "Hey, guys!" David called, trying to project confidence. "What is going on here?" Clara felt her heart race as she watched the teens shift in place, their laughter wavering, replaced by uncertain glances. She held her breath, praying David's intervention wouldn't escalate things further. "Marcus! Come here!" Clara called out, her voice a mix of authority and fear. But as Marcus turned, his expression shifted from excitement to confusion, struggling between the thrill of the moment and the danger they were collectively inviting. "What is happening?" Clara asked, moving toward her son, determination settling inside her. As she got closer, she couldn't shake off the feeling that everything was about to change in ways she didn't yet understand. The air thickened with questions, and a confrontation loomed ahead. What if David crossed a line he couldn't return from? How would that impact them all? Clara's heart thundered in her chest as she stepped closer to the gathering. The vibrant park suddenly felt like a trap. Her instincts screamed at her to protect Marcus, but the scene was tangled with adolescent bravado and unspoken tensions. The echo of David's voice cut through the air again. "Hey, guys, let us talk about this." The teens looked confused, exchanging glances that blended curiosity and shame. "No need for trouble, man," one of them muttered, crossing his arms defensively. "Marcus." Clara's voice came out sharper than she intended. She needed him to see the danger here, to understand. "Come here right now." Marcus hesitated, looking between David and the older kids, and then back to her. The youthful fire in his eyes collided head-on with a hint of defiance. "I'm fine," he pushed back, his tone challenging. Clara's stomach twisted. There it was, the sliver of rebellion that often marked his teenage years. "Clearly, you're not. This isn't a game." "Mom, chill out. It's nothing." "Nothing? It looks like something." Clara shot back, gesturing to the group. "Do you even know who you're hanging out with?" David stepped in closer, exuding a calm that she didn't feel. "Let us give them a moment, Clara," he said softly, his eyes never leaving Marcus. "But you have to respect your mom." The tension felt palpable. Friends were glancing around, their playful demeanor crumbling, uncertainty taking its place. "This isn't about respect," Marcus spat out, frustration igniting in his eyes. "I'm not a kid anymore." The battle lines were drawn, and Clara felt a knot forming in her throat. Did he really think this was how the world worked? Teenage bravado felt like a flimsy shield against the reality that was quickly advancing on them. But then there was David, standing tall, a beacon of strength beside her, heart racing parallel to hers. "We're not here to fight, Marcus. We just want you to be safe." Laughter erupted from one of the other boys, a harsh sound that sliced through the moment. "See? Saviors in suits now?" he mocked. "Enough." Clara barked, her voice echoing against the old fountain. The splashes of water seemed to freeze in time, the joy around them evaporating. Marcus finally stepped away from the group, his jaw clenched. "I don't need you telling me what to do. It's not about control, it's about care." Clara stepped closer, trying to meet his gaze. "I worry about you. You're my son, and I can't just stand by." For a moment, Marcus faltered. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The moment hung heavy, and Clara could see the stormy conflict playing in his eyes. The other kids began to shrink away, an awareness rippling through them that the atmosphere had taken a turn. "This isn't a big deal, Marcus. Just ignore them," Adrian whispered, almost apologetic as he looked back at David, who had retreated to Clara's side. What if the warning Clara felt was real? What if her worry wasn't just parental instinct but an echo of something deeper, something that could spiral into a reality they wouldn't escape from? "Marcus, please," she whispered, stepping back and opening her arms slightly as if to embrace him, her heart searching for the connection that seemed to be slipping away. "Just come home with me, let us talk," David urged gently, attempting to bridge the distance between them, holding out a hand toward Marcus. As Marcus searched their faces, the silence pushed against them, hanging thick like the humidity in the late afternoon air. Clara felt a familiar dread coil in her chest. Would he take their hands, or walk back into a life that could lead him astray? But in that moment of uncertainty, the familiar sound of sirens echoed in the distance, piercing through the stillness. Clara's breath hitched. Something was pointing toward escalation, but what could happen next? Would the sirens be their savior, or something far worse lurking just around the corner? The sirens grew closer, their wailing slicing through the air like a knife. Clara's heart raced, the panic swelling inside her chest. She glanced at Marcus, who appeared frozen, the defiance in his expression replaced by confusion. "Clara, we should go," David urged, his voice low but firm. "We don't need to be here when—" "No," Clara interjected, her voice steadying as she fought to keep her composure. "We can't leave him. Not like this. I'm not a kid." Marcus snapped, the words bursting out with raw desperation. "I can handle this. Can you?" Clara shot back, her heart aching as she searched his eyes. "Can you really? Look at what's happening. You think standing with these guys is safe?" Marcus took a step back, his shoulders tightening. The laughter from the other boys faded into an uneasy silence, all eyes darting from Clara to Marcus and back again. "Mom, just trust me for once," he said, his voice softer now, but brimming with irritation. "You don't understand." Clara could feel the tears forming as she scanned his face. This didn't feel like a battle for control, it felt like a battle for his very soul. "I understand a lot more than you think. I see the choices you're making. This isn't about trust, it's about love." The nearby laughter was replaced by a tense stillness. The murmurs of the crowd faded, Clara's voice echoed off the park's trees, a thunderous whisper begging for attention. Just then, a car screeched to a halt nearby, tires kicking up gravel. A couple of police officers emerged, their uniforms crisp against the backdrop of the waning sun. Clara felt a shiver run down her spine. "Marcus," she murmured, reaching out a hand, desperate for connection, but the moment was slipping like sand through her fingers. This is all your fault. He shouted suddenly. You didn't have to ruin my day. The words hit her like a physical blow. Ruin your day? I'm trying to protect you. She implored, her voice raw, filled with emotion. Protect me from what? From having a life, making friends? He waved his arm dismissively at the group, his face contorted in frustration, marking an unseen divide. One officer approached the boys, eyes narrowed. The tension split air like a heavy curtain, and Clara's breath hitched as adrenaline surged through her. Just as she felt the ground beneath her start to crumble, David stepped forward. Sir, he asked, his voice steady but urgent. Can we help? We were just mediating a conversation. The officer turned, the look of confusion on his face morphing into a frown. Mediating? With who? All of us, David replied, trying to defuse the situation, but Clara could see the shadows of anxiety flickering in his eyes. Smoke was beginning to gather, and she felt time racing against them, like a swift current threatening to sweep everything away. It's not what you think. Adrian piped up, his hands raised in an attempt at peace. We're all just hanging out. The officer crossed his arms, looking skeptical. Clara couldn't shake the fear creeping in. What if everything they feared was true? What did all of this mean for Marcus? I just want you all to back away, this could get serious, the officer warned, scanning the group as if waiting for a trigger. In that haunting moment, Clara realized how close they all were to a tipping point. The line was drawn, and she wondered if this clash of voices, this clash of worlds, would end in chaos. Marcus, she whispered, tears rolling silently down her cheeks, please come here. As she reached out to him, Marcus looked torn, caught between the boy he had been and the young man he was trying to become. Would he let go of his pride and reach for safety? Would he risk it all for one frantic moment of clarity? The officers moved closer as the atmosphere thickened. Clara felt the world narrowing in on them. And then, out of nowhere, one of the boys shouted a challenge, a taunt. Prove you're not scared. The sound lit a fire in Marcus's eyes. In that split second, Clara knew they were on the edge of something monumental. Would he step back into a protective embrace, or surge forward into a storm? Clara's heart raced, bracing for what came next. Would tonight change everything? The moment felt like a still frame in a chaotic movie, time stretching just long enough for Clara to read the fight in her son's eyes. She felt as if she were on a tightrope, the distance between them becoming an insurmountable chasm as each tick of the clock echoed in her ears. Marcus, please, her voice broke with urgency, and in that moment, the air felt thick with unfulfilled pleas. The boys around him seemed to hold their breath too, caught in the tangled web of loyalty and fear. Are you really going to let some badge tell you what to do? One of the boys said, his bravado masking the quiver beneath. Clara could see it, a flicker of uncertainty in Marcus's gaze. It was like a glass wall, clear but fragile, about to shatter. Stand with us, Marcus. Another voiced out, desperate to uphold a sense of belonging. The longer he hesitated, the more the shouts grew. Somehow, the chaos around him only strengthened that pull to prove himself. Clara squeezed her palms into fists, willing him to take that step back. Just as Marcus opened his mouth to respond, the officer took another step forward, his voice raised over the antics spiraling into defiance. Back off, all of you. This is serious. Marcus's eyes darted between Clara and the scene unfolding. Would he break away from this crowd? Would he shed the armor of bravado? Her heart ached as she saw his silent battle, a fierce desire to be seen and accepted clashing against the instinct to stay safe with family. Marcus. Clara called, her voice tinged with desperation. You're stronger than this. Do you want to be a part of this mess? Mess? He shouted back, voice cracking. You think I want to live in your shadow forever? Anger burned in his tone, but Clara heard the wavering undertow of hurt. He needed to feel like he mattered. He needed to feel powerful, even if it came wrapped in adrenaline and rebellion. David stood close, a supportive anchor, hoping to shield Clara's growing despair. "Just take a breath, everyone," he said calmly, surveying the rising tide of emotions hidden behind closed fists and tense jaws. The kid mocking Marcus shouted again, "You scared? Come on, show us you're not." The challenge was nothing new, it hung thick in the air, suffocating like smoke. "Marcus," turning to them, "won't he make you brave? It'll only bring you pain," Clara said softly, though the anguish echoed loudly within her. Tears blurring her vision, she fought against the helplessness closing around her heart. In those final moments, caught in a dance of defiance and fear, he hesitated. Clara's breath hitched as she began to realize they were at the precipice of something raw and real. Would she lose him tonight? Would this fracture their connection forever? The sirens were no longer distant, they surged through the atmosphere, mingling with the escalating tension. Time elongated, her whole being wrapped around the heartbeat she felt resonating through her. And then, something remarkable happened. Marcus took a step back, a trembling breath escaping his lips. It felt like both a capitulation and a victory. As he turned to face her, the challenge in his eyes gave way to a flicker of something softer, fear, yes, but also the yearning to break free from all of it together. "Mom," he whispered, his voice breaking just like her heart. But before he could finish, the other boys exploded into laughter, the officer's presence disregarded in favor of bravado. Clara could see the moment cling to the edge of hope. "Don't," she urged, her heart pleading that it wasn't too late. The sirens howled louder, the world around him in turmoil, begging for a decision. Would he leap back towards her, or charge forward into uncertainty? Just as the current of adrenaline sparked his movements, Clara felt the pull of fate hovering above them, fraught with questions that churned in her chest. And then, amidst the clamor, uncertainty became a powerful force. What would Marcus choose, and where would that choice lead him? Clara's breath quickened, each inhale a mixture of hope and dread. She felt as if she were standing in front of an open door, the winds of fear and excitement swirling in a storm outside. "Mom," Marcus tried again, looking torn, his eyes darting toward the laughter of his so-called friends. It felt like a tightrope act, each moment precarious, teetering on the edge of a terrible fall. The boys' voices were boisterous now, taunting him, filling the air with a sickening mixture of bravado and challenge. "Just come with me, Marcus. Let us go home. We can talk. Just leave this behind," Clara urged, her own voice rising above the crowd. The words spilled out of her, desperate and raw. He hesitated, a look of frustration crossing his face as he struggled with the magnetic pull of peer acceptance versus the safe haven of his mother. Then it happened. A hand clapped him on the back, jolting him from his thoughts. It was the boy who had challenged him, a smirk plastered on his face, and suddenly, the tug of belonging drew Marcus back into the clamor. "I'm not scared," Marcus yelled, a flicker of defiance igniting in his chest. Clara's heart sank as she watched hope dissipate, replaced by the painful realization that rebellion was winning. "Marcus!" She called again, but it sounded distant even to her. The sirens had morphed into a wailing siren song, drowning her out. In that moment, the officer's voice cut through the noise once more. "You think this is a game? You think it's all fun and games?" The authority in his tone pulled the focus of the boys, but it wasn't enough to reach Marcus. "Just back off, man." One of them spat, trying to hold on to the fragile bravado. Clara saw the tension tighten around Marcus. The laughter died down, and all eyes turned to him, waiting, wanting him to take the leap into chaos. Time slowed, sticky and thick, as Clara felt her heartbeat echo in her ears. The faces around them blurred, what mattered was Marcus. She needed to let him know he was more than just a boy torn between two worlds. "I love you, no matter what you choose," she managed to breathe out, her eyes locking onto his. Each word was heavier than the last, building a bridge over the chasm growing between them. The flicker of resolve she saw on his face faltered. Clara saw doubt shroud his confidence like a fog. The thunderous crowd faded to silent whispers, as if they too were waiting for Marcus's answer to crystallize, but then the laughter roared again, insistently beckoning him. Don't let her life be your life, man. If only they knew what lay beneath her pleading gaze. The moment felt warped, the air thick with unspoken words. Clara took a step forward, her spirit soaring, heart pounding. You don't have to become someone you're not. The laughter turned into jeers, frustration bubbling to the surface. Marcus clenched his fists, but the facade began to crack. She recognized it then. It was that ache of wanting, his desperate need to find his place. For a brief second, he seemed to sway back like a reed in the wind. Clara could almost see the internal battle play out, two worlds colliding within him. There stood the reckless boy from the crowd and the son who sought her understanding. And then, as the sirens grew louder, drowning out all but the pulse of their moment, an unexpected shot of clarity surged through her. Whatever you decide, I'll be right here waiting. His breath hitched, and for the first time, the weight of her words seemed to anchor him. But just as hope flickered back to life, a flash of realization struck Clara. The officer was making moves, and soon this would erupt into something uncontrollable. Marcus. There wasn't time left for indecision. What would Marcus do? Would he turn back, embrace the love and safety of his mother, or plunge further into the reckless bravado that surrounded him? And as the sirens blared fiercely, she had to wonder, would their bond shatter or emerge stronger from this critical moment? The moment hung thick in the air, electric with uncertainty. Clara held her breath, her heart a drumbeat of urgency as she searched Marcus's face for any sign of hope. He looked lost, caught between the vibrant echoes of youth and the palpable love radiating from her eyes. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from the group of boys, demanding Marcus's attention, twisting his expression into one of uncertainty. For a moment, he looked exhilarated, intoxicated by their energy. But Clara saw the flicker of fear beneath the bravado, the question buzzing in his mind, what does he truly want? Mom, his voice cracked, barely rising above the noise. It was as if he had suddenly realized the weight of the choices laid before him. The thrill of acceptance was tempting, but he could feel the tug of his mother's love pulling at him like a lifeline. Marcus! Clara cried, her voice breaking with desperation. Remember who you are. You've always been strong. You've got this. He turned, the laughter fading into a distant hum. In the depths of his eyes, Clara saw a fleeting vulnerability and understanding that perhaps there was more to this moment than what the crowd expected of him. But then one of the boys shoved Marcus playfully, his laugh piercing through the atmosphere. "Simon, man, don't let her hold you back. Jump in." In that instant, the push from his friends toppled the fragile emotions that Clara had ignited. He took a step back, a mixture of rage and confusion knitting his brows together. Suddenly he didn't know who he was anymore. The crowd surged forward, a tide of loud teenage rebellion just waiting for Marcus's lead. Clara's heart raced with panic. "Marcus, this isn't who you are. Don't do this." A flicker of defiance danced in Marcus's eyes. It was a dangerous spiral, one that threatened to snatch the last bit of hope. But then, just as quickly, it dimmed. He could see the real battle lurking behind Clara's fierce expression, the battle of a mother who had sacrificed so much for him, a mother who only wanted to keep him safe. "Why can't you just let me be me?" he shouted, frustration leaking out. His voice quaked, revealing the truth hidden beneath the bravado. "I want you to be free, Marcus. But freedom shouldn't wound you," she pleaded, trying to reach the boy who had giggled at her silly jokes, the son who once ran to her in a princess costume, believing he could be anything. Her words hung heavy in the air, carving into the surrounding noise. The jeers had faded, leaving a silence that was overwhelming. Every eye was now on Marcus, all waiting to see what he would choose, and then he faltered. A single heartbeat stretched into an eternity. The laughter of rebellion fell away, replaced by a distant memory of days spent in the safety of home, laughter echoing in the kitchen as they cooked together. "Marcus," Clara whispered, her voice soft and steady. "Whatever you choose, just know I will love you. Let us find you again. You don't have to fight this battle alone." The flicker of resolve sparked within him. He needed to grasp it, he needed to find the strength to turn away from the chaos. But doubt clawed at him, the fear of rejection from his friends clawed at his heart. What if he lost them? "Think about who you want to be," she urged, her own heart aching with understanding, her eyes pleading. "You're not alone, just take that step back." And in that moment, with everything hanging in balance, Marcus looked back at his friends and felt the weight of their expectations suffocating him. But as he raised his head, he finally saw past the noise the faces of those who truly mattered. He took one step forward, breathing deeply, but as he opened his mouth to speak, the sirens suddenly grew louder, the chaos threatening to drown out his voice forever. What if the choice he was about to make could change everything? Would he break free or remain shackled to the demands of others? As Clara's breath hitched with uncertainty, she waited for the truth to unfold, knowing that whatever happened next could define them both. The sirens pierced the air like a knife, loud and insistent, drowning out the world around them. Marcus felt a rush of adrenaline as panic flooded his veins. It was all closing in the uncertainty, the pressure from his friends, and Clara's unwavering gaze. It was as if time had stopped, and all that existed was the choice hanging before him. He looked at the boys, their faces expectant and full of anticipation. The laughter that once sounded so inviting now felt like an accusation. They embodied freedom, yet all Marcus felt was constriction. His pulse quickened, the stakes felt impossibly high. "Marcus!" One of the boys shouted again, his voice overconfident and persistent. "What is taking you so long? Just jump in with us. It'll be epic." Epic? Marcus found himself questioning, his mind racing. Did epic mean losing himself? Did it mean ignoring Clara's tender plea? He glanced back at his mother, the silence between them full of unspoken words. In her eyes, he saw everything: fear, love, hope, and the shadows of dreams unfulfilled. Marcus took a shaky breath, suddenly aware of the weight of the decision he was about to make. Could he really turn his back on his friends? He felt another push from deep within. This was more than just a teenage rebellion moment. It was a crossroads, a defining instant that could set the course of his life. "Think about it," Marcus. Clara's voice seemed to reach out to him through the chaos. "Where do you want to be in 10 years? Who do you want to be?" Her question echoed in his mind, making the choice even clearer. It wasn't about sides, it was about being true to himself. A flicker of resolve ignited again inside him, warming the icy grip of doubt. "What do I really want?" he whispered, not even realizing he had spoken out loud. He took a step towards Clara, leaving the crowd behind. A few heads turned, surprise evident in their eyes. But he didn't care. The noise around him faded, the sirens dulled, as his focus shifted entirely. "I want to be someone I'm proud of," Marcus shouted, the words tumbling out, fueled by the strength of his convictions. He felt lighter, freer, and for the first time in a long while, he felt truly alive. The group of boys fell silent. The nervous energy they had once projected morphed into confusion, and Clara's face lit up with an affectionate mix of relief and pride. "Mom! I just be you," she interrupted, a broad smile spreading across her face. "That's all I've ever wanted." "Yeah, man, whatever," one of the boys said, a hint of scorn masking his surprise. "You're being lame." But Marcus refused to backpedal. "I'd rather be lame and true to myself than pretend to be something I'm not." His heart thundered as he looked at Clara, watching her expression transform from fear to joy, and something much deeper that he didn't quite have the words for. She reached for him, her arms open, and he found himself rushing into her embrace. "This is it, this is who I am," he murmured against her shoulder, feeling the warmth of her love wash over him. As he pulled back, he faced the crowd again, breathing in the moment, feeling the weight lift. The boy's laughter slowly faded into the background as the reality of his choice set in. The sirens continued to wail, but now they held a different significance. Instead of chaos, they became a reminder of the sound of choice. The sirens that had once felt like a threat, now resonating like a declaration of his newfound freedom, but beneath the exhilaration, a nagging worry still lingered. What would happen if Marcus truly embraced his identity? Would his friends really accept him? As he looked at the group for their response, part of him trembled. The silence started to spiral back in, wrapping around him like a cloak, heavy with expectations, yet electrifying with possibility. "Marcus, what are you going to do now?" Clara's voice cut through the tension, a captivating blend of curiosity and encouragement. He paused, the truth dawning on him. The journey he was beginning was just the first step. Could he balance this newfound identity with friendship? Before Marcus could reply, a commotion bubbled up behind them, and a shadow fell over the group as someone approached from the side. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the crowd, pushing through the tension that had enveloped the park. It was Adrian, his face pale and fear evident in his eyes. "Guys, we need to go now," he said, voice shaking slightly. "I don't get it, Adrian. What's the deal?" One of the boys scoffed, shrugging off the urgency. Clara held her breath, knowing this was about to escalate. Adrian glanced at Clara, then back to Marcus. "They're coming. The cops. They saw us hanging out here and they're on their way. If we don't split, we're going to get in serious trouble." The air crackled with tension, and Marcus felt the weight of choices pressing down on him again. He wanted to respond, to let himself be proud of the moment he just had with Clara, but what if it was all slipping away? The laughter and bravado from before turned into whispers of panic as they processed the situation. "Marcus, I think you should leave with your mom," Adrian urged, desperation creeping into his voice. "You don't need this. Why are you even still with them, man?" One of the boys protested, frustration mounting. "You're ditching us?" In that moment, Marcus realized what true bravery meant. It wasn't about facing down a challenge or standing up against someone. It was about doing the right thing, and in this moment, he knew what that meant. "I'm not going to run away from this," he said firmly, feeling Clara's presence ground him. "Your mom just saved you from making a huge mistake." Adrian shouted, and it was true. Clara's fierce love had pierced through the chaos, giving him the strength to say no. "Maybe it was a mistake hanging out with you guys. Maybe I don't want to be part of this," Marcus declared, willing himself to stand firm. The realization felt liberating. His voice rang out unshakable as he looked toward Clara. "I don't want to lose this connection. I want to be around people who support me." The energy shifted, confusion rippling through the group, and tempers flared. "You can't leave. This isn't about just you." One of the boys shouted back, his bravado shaking beneath his words. Adrian won over, with confidence in his friend. "Come on, man. We need to bounce. Let us go. Forget them." Sensing the narrow path laid before him, Marcus couldn't shake the skepticism. "Are you guys abandoning your friends?" One last defiant voice pierced through, but Marcus shrugged it off. Just at that moment, the sirens grew louder, unmistakably approaching. "Let us go," Clara urged, pulling Marcus close as they turned to leave. Together, they began to walk away from the crowd that had once pulled so hard on his heartstrings. The sounds of chaos faded into the background, and he felt the warmth of her hand intertwined with his. "Do you think they'll understand?" he finally asked Clara, a hint of uncertainty clouding his voice. "They may not. But one thing I know for sure is that you've chosen who you want to be, and that's what matters." As they made their way back home, the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the park. The weight on Marcus's heart began to lift, replaced with a sense of empowerment. "I don't want to lose this feeling," Marcus confessed. "You won tea, honey. The real friends will follow where you go. They'll see the real you," Clara reassured him, her voice filled with love and certainty. They shared a look that spoke of promises and futures uncharted. And as they walked away, leaving behind the chaos, Marcus felt the embers of transformation simmering within, a spark ignited not just by his mother's love but also by the choices he was now ready to make. Together, they stepped into the brightening dawn, ready to confront whatever life threw next. If this story spoke to your heart, then it's time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire and transform your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for more uplifting content. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending because your voice matters. And don't wait not even 1 second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can inspire change.